You so love. There are people that love this church. There are people that love this church. When I mean love this church, they love the church with their family, with their children, even the one that have not been born. They love the church with their hair, with their hand, everything. So no matter the song anybody will sing to them outside in the office, it doesn't change them. Because of the love they have in this church. Am I communicating? There are people that love this church to the extent that even if you tell them in the morning, like today, this morning, I was looking for 1 or 2 people. And they're not around. I wanted to do something for me. For God, not for me, for God. They are members of the church. But please, I needed it urgently. So they called them. And they say, no, this one said, I will not come more time. This one said, I'm going somewhere. I'm doing somewhere. I was okay. If you love this church, for example, nothing will distract you in the Sunday morning, not coming on time in the morning. Am I communicating? It's love. Now, David loved God and the things of God so madly until God now told him, I give you open check. What do you want me to do for you? Love. The whole thing is love. God is love. And if anybody loves God like God, as he loved men, he does mighty things. He does great things. Loving God like anything. The Bible says, and Solomon loved the Lord, and he walked in the statutes of God, obeying God. That is the beauty of life. That is the beauty of life. Beauty of life. I pray today, by the reason of this service, your story will change forever. Now, let me tell you something. When you look 1 Samuel chapter 22, verse 14. 1 Samuel chapter 22, verse 14. The Bible says here, David was faithful. He talked about the faithfulness of David. 1 Samuel 22, verse 14. He talked about the faithfulness of David. And because of how honorable, how faithful is David to God, God was so pleased with David. David was faithful to care for his father's sheep. So God said, look, if you can be faithful like this, risk your life. Do you know that God values sacrificial love? Sacrificial love, that you are ready to die for this thing. You're ready to die for this work. You are ready to die for this thing. Do you know God sacrifice? God love it. God loves those who sacrifice. I will die for this work. Even if I did not gain anything, even if nobody recognized me, even if nobody follow me, nobody appreciate me, I will die for this work, because I'm not doing it for man. I'm doing it for who? God. So David was like that. He was ready to die because of sheep, protecting one sheep. And God said, if this man can die for sheep, he can die for human being. Come, I will make you a king. Faithfulness. Love. That is why David called him a man after God's heart. Can you imagine? God say, Pastor, listen to me. God called David, say, David is a man after God's heart. Can you imagine that kind of thing? A man after God. Not because of his righteousness, but not because of his good deeds. David was committing certain sins that we don't want to talk about in public. But because of how he loved God. Not because of the sins and disobedience he was living in, but because of how he loved God and committed. If God still loves you and how faithful you are to him, he will give you open check. What do you want me to do for you? Tell me. Tell me. Abraham was such a deep relationship with God until God called him my friend. How can God call a man like that my friend? Not even a righteous man to the sense of our description. And God looked at, because of how he loves God and he was obeying God. At the time he decided to gather everything upon all the way he gathered everything he had. He said, I want to give tithe. He now valued the television. How much is the cost of the television? Maybe, for example, the television is 50,000 now. Okay, take 5,000. The cattle, how much is this cattle? Take 2,000. He now the house he has, the share, the bed he has, the clothes he has. He has value everything and give tithe to Melchizedek, a man who is the king of Salem, who is a leader. He carry everything and value everything has, which and loaded the tithe to him again. And God look at this bicycle. Why would God not be surprised? He paid the tithe and gave it to the man called Melchizedek. And God said, wow. Because Melchizedek was a priest. So you see, David now called him a friend because of the way he obeyed God, because of the way he was serving God, the way he loved God. He was ready to kill his own son to give to God. And God said, God, this man is too much. What do you want me to do for you? At the time God look at it and say, look, don't. Everything your eye can see, I give to you. Everything your eye can see. Anything you can see, anything you desire, I give to you. In fact, till the world will end, it's your son that will sit at the throne. That's what God said. He said, make eternal covenant with you. Look at Numbers chapter 12, verse 7. Number 12. If you look at Numbers chapter 12, verse 7, the Bible says, my servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all my house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. Let me stop there. When you look 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 12, the Bible says, Silvanus was considered a faithful brother. Are you a faithful brother? Faithful brother. Faithful brother means yes is yes. No is no. Many of us, we like breaking girls' heart. I will marry you. Then after 3 months, you change your mind. I'm not going to marry you again. You are a dubious person. 419. You don't mean it. You just come and spoil somebody's heart. Never open your mouth to tell a girl I will marry you until you decide to do that. And once you say it, don't say no. Can you shout a big amen? If you don't mean it, don't say it. Wait. It's nothing wrong. Wait until you are convinced. Until you are convinced that God is leading me to marry this one. Then if God leads you, go and tell the person. Don't say, I don't know, let me try and look. It's just because you want to take the girl to bed. The guy say, I refuse. I won't take you. You won't sleep with me until married. You say, okay, the marriage is not going to work again.